and this whole thing, speculation, was for absolutely nothing. We'll find out.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to No Drama, Just Movies, and we are back this week with another TV review. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned with all the content that we produce each and every week in the world of TV and movies. My name is Cameron Frank Kelly Smith, and I'm joined by my esteemed colleague here.
Phil, gone but not forgotten, Cohen.
Oh, that's right. If you haven't guessed it by now, but of course you have, based on the title of this video, we are here to review none other than episode 3 of Daredevil Born Again, i.e. episode 3, season 4. Yeah, technically, if you were following the Netflix one anyway. If you're following. Obviously, to start this off, a huge shout out, and of course, we had it obviously prior to the episode last week or before the episode last week. Obviously in the credits opening or after credits, I can't remember. Obviously, huge rest in peace to Kamar de los Reyes, the gentleman who plays White Tiger. Obviously lost a battle to cancer, so he's no longer with us. And so you couldn't help. I just want to mention that because it was a nice tribute I felt when the after credits of this episode were rolling and you heard the sound of the, once again, another name I may mess up with, but I'm just going to say Kokui. I don't know. Kukui, but basically the sound,
the frogs.
The sound of the frogs, with obviously the trees and whatnot. And that was really nice. I felt like that was done very much on purpose, a touching tribute to not only, the character, but also the actor himself. But let's go right into it.
Okay.
And I'm just going to start this straight off. I felt like this was a step down. I felt like this episode, for me personally, was a step down from the previous two. I felt like the last two were very, very much so on an unbelievable high. And I felt like this was a step down. I think that this could have maybe served with an extra 15 minutes or so. I don't know if that necessarily would have made it better for me, but essentially the reason, and we'll get into it, the reason why I didn't exactly enjoy this episode as much as I thought it was a tad bit boring. I felt like even though we were going into the courtroom drama of it all, I didn't exactly feel that this was peak courtroom drama. I really didn't. And don't get me wrong, that's why I do question if maybe it could have benefited from a bit of a lengthier runtime. And it's the thing where there were things happening in this episode which I feel like I should have felt more. The idea of Nikki Torres, not knowing if he's going to make it on time. The idea of him testifying but actually then going the other way. The idea of then, Matt having to rely on this other trick up his sleeve in order to try and get the jury to side with Hector. I feel like these are things that I should have just felt more. And I didn't. And I think that a lot of other things took a back seat, obviously Fisk being one of them. And what we saw with Fisk, I felt like was not exactly extremely, I don't know if it truly made sense, nor did I feel like it was that interesting. But that's where I was. But still enjoy this world, still enjoy this character. It's just a bit let down. What was your initial thoughts?
I'm going to jump straight on the court thing because you're right. I was very torn after it finished, or like towards the end of the episode, how I feel about the court case, because all the things that you mentioned, this kind of ruse where they follow the van, and Cherry, it is Cherry.
Cherry.
Cherry. What we think, Torres is with him, but it turns out he isn't. We've kind of seen those before, right? In other shows, films, like it's the ruse, two people drive in different directions, and one we follow one and think, that's where the package is, whatever that is. Even like the double cross or the turn of Torres, when he says, "Oh no, I wasn't there. I have no idea what you're talking about." We've seen that too. We've seen that as well. So I think that was the thing that was kind of missing to make it a really interesting court case, is that they're kind of retreading these things. But what sold it for me was Hector. And I think, again, Kamar de los Reyes really sold it. I loved everything that he did and like what he was involved in. Like the fact when he told the story about him like putting the deposit down on the flat and you see his sister and niece there. I really felt that. Him just trying to get his life in order. like really like the hope basically that was just around the corner, his own place and like happy family, that was then or could have been taken away at any moment now if they had, decided that he was guilty. Um, so I was invested in that. I was invested in him, like when all the people get up to the stand and tell the stories of how the white tiger helped them. I was suddenly invested in that as well, and I was like, please, 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 I hope they say not guilty. So yeah, from that moment, I think that became a really good episode for me. Um, so I was okay with it.
Yeah,
But
because I
having
think. Sorry, go on. No, go on. You go. You go.
having said that, I still was missing a little bit Daredevil, even though it was a really, really good like court show or law show. And I loved the twists and turns, and like I loved Matt deciding to out the White Tiger or out Hector. I think there was a really cool twist and like a ballsy move as well. Um, Even though I was kind of like, is Daredevil going to show up in this Daredevil show? Is Fisk like you? I guess is Fisk going to do anything? So I think at some point I had to kind of tell myself, don't expect Daredevil. Just enjoy it for what it is right now, because there was still like this internal conflict of Matt, like, um, do I need to be Daredevil or not? He's trying to I guess, get the justice that he wants without having to put on a costume.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? Because when the the prosecution is giving his closing arguments, that was actually a speech that I actually really bought. Because the reality is that yes, good people can do bad things, bad people can be good things, bad people can do good things. Excuse me. And I think that was actually a point in this courtroom case where it did feel very real and believable. Like me as a viewer, if I am a jury member, could have easily responded to that speech and go, you know what? Yeah, this guy could have did it. And also the fact that vigilantes in this world are kind of seen as half good, half bad. This guy rolling around as a white tiger, I can believe both sides. That someone will go, this guy could be capable of it, but actually maybe not. This guy has proven to do some good things. And so yeah, I feel like the courtroom drama, I think that if this, funny enough, was a case that took place like over a few episodes, I think that this could have actually had more room to actually breathe a little bit and actually hit harder for me. But of course, we're not going to be able to do that. In terms of, I do want to quickly, I'm going to mention Fisk in a second, but I do want to, in fact, I'll start with Fisk. I don't believe this idea that Fisk is struggling with kind of dabbling into his old lifestyle. I don't believe it. I believe it more with Matt, funny enough, than I actually do with Fisk. And I'm not too sure why that is, but I think it's because not for one moment could I, as a viewer, or have I as a viewer, ever believe that Fisk could completely leave his illegitimate business behind and move into this legitimate phase. And so this idea of seeing Fisk slowly kind of double back into his crookish ways isn't as interesting for me, I think, as it could be, because I never once believed that you could have Fisk on the straight and narrow, personally speaking. And yeah, he's not very featured much in this episode at all.
Yeah.
The stuff with Vanessa, obviously, it was like one scene. This like therapy stuff, I mean, it started out interesting, but I think when you follow up with just being one scene where it's not even the therapist, I'm talking before the therapy, it's like, okay, where are we going here? But I am still intrigued to see it because it is Vincent D'Onofrio, it is Fisk, and it probably is going to be very fascinating. What's your thoughts on that?
I did like that little moment where they're eating and they're like talking about what they're about to do or what he did do or didn't do.
You did feel the tension in their relationship. You
Yeah.
definitely did feel that.
I think I still like that relationship, but again, yeah, I would have wanted a little bit more Fisk from this as well, like a little bit more of D'Onofrio, because I like him as well. As for him, like going back to his dark side, I don't know. I like this kind of idea that he's always been a bit grayer. Speaking of that as well, like of that dinner scene, I love that shot. They're talking and they're like he's says like this violence and these blood feuds are not for us. He's trying to do the right thing. And then just as like his servant maid is filling his thing, his glass, like you see him sitting at the table and there's light coming from one side and it like pretty much lights up one side of his face. And I thought it was this beautiful shot. Whether it's deliberate, I think it's deliberate. I want to say it's believe it's deliberate, but I think it's that kind of like he's firmly in the light and the dark, and the great suit as well. Where he's trying to do a good thing here, but he has to kind of play a little bit dirty. So I don't know how much of it is him completely trying to leave that life behind and struggling with leaving that life behind, as much as it is, I'll do whatever it takes to protect my city.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, I did like the ending, and I'll end at least on the ending of, him obviously giving the interview with the BB reporter and kind of painting that picture once again of, the fact that vigilantes should not be getting away with, at least he's spinning it, obviously, obviously that's not actually what happened, but he's spinning it with the idea of, that vigilantes shouldn't be getting away with being able to murder police and do this and this and that. And then I want to talk about that final ending. Obviously, the big reveal at the end, obviously White Tiger is shot and killed, and then we see obviously the classic bulletproof tactical vest with obviously the Punisher logo on it, basically implying that Frank is the one who killed White Tiger. I have so many mixed thoughts about this. I think one, and that's part of the cliffhanger, is why would Frank kill White Tiger, especially after seeing what's happened in the courtroom drama. The second thing is that if, we're seeing all these police officers and guys with the tattoos, the Punisher logo tattoos on their neck or wrist, is that connected? Why would Frank do that? And then it leads to my third question, which is it actually Frank? Which I think is the thing that I'm still questioning, if that is actually Frank. But then if it isn't, I'm still intrigued to know how this all works its way through. The fourth thing I want to mention, I know this is going to sound petty, but I mean, like, you have a guy here, right? This White Tiger, who talks about the amulet. Obviously, the amulet doesn't give him real powers, but I mean, depending on what spiritual culture you believe in. But, this idea that White Tiger's, after this court case, right, that he's willing to put back on the mask, everyone knows who he is, jump back on the street, especially with how hot things are with Fisk's interview. And the fact that he's just able to walk down the alleyway into a gunshot was, I don't know, he doesn't have powers, right? But I mean, for me, it was just kind of like, so this is the White Tiger, eh? Like, that's kind of like was my response. So this is the White Tiger. Obviously, I understand, especially if it wasn't Frank who shot him, that even makes it a bit more pathetic, but it still was a sad ending. But yeah, I just had mixed thoughts about it, but still a sad ending. Definitely a sad ending. What was your thoughts on the ending?
I thought when I watched it, I thought, oh shoot, that's how they introduce the Punisher. But you're right. It's like we don't see his face, which could just be we'll tease it a little bit, but we don't want to show the whole thing. But yes, there's also these people with the tattoo, and there's with the graffiti as well at some point. So I think, yeah, you gave me that thought of, what if it wasn't Frank? I would like it to be, because I think that's an interesting conflict, and again, this kind of gray zone as well, which is the word of the day for me. Because like it would open so many like conflicts between him and Matt, if Matt ever finds out that Frank killed the White Tiger, and maybe then conflict with Frank and I'm guessing like the idea is that Fisk hired him to kill White Tiger. Is that what we think?
Maybe, but I couldn't imagine Frank working for Fisk, especially after. Yeah, but I guess that's the idea of what you think they're trying to portray.
Yes, that's what I think. Like if Fisk tricked him somehow and said like, "Oh, look, this guy was guilty. They killed the cop. Now he needs there has to be vengeance, right?" And Frank said, "Okay, I'll do it," not knowing the full story, or not, knowing that he was but I almost called him Reyes, but Hector was actually innocent, and that could be the conflict with Frank once he finds out that Fisk was lying to him, or between Matt and Frank. So there's an option to go into this like yeah internal conflict or like philosophical conflict, I guess.
Yeah.
But maybe it wasn't Frank, and this whole thing, speculation, was for absolutely nothing. We'll find out. We'll find out. We know he's coming at some point, so that
He's coming.
that would have been a good introduction, I think, or like really
Yeah.
for him because it was like stone fucking cold,
It was,
and
yeah.
it was a really sad ending for Hector, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, look, obviously, we did get confirmation last week, and good old John was talking about him himself in terms of, the Punisher special that is coming to Marvel. I look forward to that. I look forward to see more Punisher. And final thing I want to end on quickly, very, very quickly, before we go to our IC review scores, is that I have been seeing some rumors online, but from less reputable sources than the classic trades, that apparently the idea initially was that what we saw here in episode 3 was actually initially meant to be that I think episode 2 and 3 was actually meant to be episode 1 and 2 initially. Apparently that's what I'm seeing across the interwebs, which I thought was quite interesting. I don't know if I believe it, but I did think to myself, I know, what if that was the case and we didn't have episode 1, how I'd view this show so far. But I don't know. But yeah, I just thought that was an interesting tidbit to throw out. Yeah, but I mean,
it would have been a weird one because, like, would Foggy still be dead? Would Foggy still be gone, or would he have been gone? And like, I'm guessing maybe I can imagine it being when there wasn't a Karen, when there wasn't a Foggy, that being the case, and then they added the first episode just to bring those guys back. But yeah, grain of salt, maybe.
Yeah,
A little grain of
tell me
salt.
about it. But I mean, let's head to our IC review scores for episode 3. How many ICs out of 10 will you give episode 3 of Born Again?
I would give it an 8 out of 10. Once I like shut off my brain and said, this is just take it for what it is and what they're presenting to you, rather than going, where's Daredevil? Where's Daredevil? I really enjoyed it. I loved, like I said, I loved the White Tiger and Hector and like his predicament, and what it means for Matt as well. And this kind of like, do I need to be Daredevil? So yeah, 8 out of 10 for me.
So you'll go with 8 ICs out of 10. I am going 1 under with 7 ICs out of 10. Still enjoyed the episode. I'm still locked in, love this world. It just wasn't as good for me as the previous 2 episodes, and I feel like there could have been a bit more done there, but I'm still very excited for episode 4. So you're going with 8 ICs out of 10, I'm going with 7 ICs out of 10, and that will do it for our review of episode 3 of Daredevil Born Again. Once again, we are No Drama Just Movies. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like this video here, of course. If you didn't, well, best of luck. Please like,
subscribe
comment,
anyway.
share, do the full shebang. Drop down in the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts on this episode as a whole and what you think for the season moving ahead. Once again, my name is Cameron Frank Kelly Smith, and I'm joined by my esteemed colleague here.
Sound like a housewife. Oh, Phil, gone but not foggy gotten. Corwin.
Oh, and that will do it once again for our review of episode 3 of Daredevil Born Again. Once again, a huge rest in peace to Kamar de los Reyes. You say it much better than I do, so hit him one more time with it.
Kamar de los Reyes.
That's it. Once again, thank you very much for checking out our review today, guys, and we will see you very, very soon. Take care, guys.
Frank, dinner's ready.